To the world, Bishop Paul Morton was the picture of spiritual strength. People admired him for his passionate sermons, his music that stirred hearts, and his unwavering presence as a man of faith. His leadership impacted countless lives, and many saw him as a spiritual father, a shepherd for the masses. He and his wife, Dr. Deborah Morton, were viewed as the perfect example of a godly, couple-strong, united, and full of purpose. But as we now know, what was seen on the surface didn't always reflect what was happening behind closed doors. For decades, the image of their partnership seemed unshakable. They stood beside each other at the pulpit, spoke to congregations together, and offered wisdom on marriage, family, and faith. People held them up as a symbol of what true love and unity should look like. But beneath that polished exterior, Dr. Deborah Morton carried a quiet pain she kept buried for years. And now, at 74 years old, she has finally broken her silence, revealing a truth that caught even their closest supporters off guard. There had always been murmurs, subtle hints of tension, rumors that were easy to dismiss because of the towering respect people had for Bishop Morton. After all, who would dare question a man of his standing? Dr. Morton, for her part, kept her head high and played her role with grace. But behind her quiet support was a woman who felt unseen, unheard, and overlooked in a deeply emotional interview. She shared how the person she loved most made her feel alone in the very relationship they both worked to present as ideal. She described years of waiting, not just for his presence, but for his attention, his partnership. While he gave himself fully to the ministry, she was left at home, longing for connection. She put it plainly, he was there for everyone else, but not for me. I needed a partner, and I got a pastor. That one sentence carried the weight of years of silent suffering. She spoke of how every decision in their life seemed to go through him, her voice, her opinions, her needs. They often felt dismissed. It was as if she were living in his world, not theirs. And then came a major turning point. A financial decision he made without her input nearly put their family in jeopardy. It wasn't just about the money. It was about trust, about respect, about being treated as an equal. She had stayed silent for so long, but this time the burden was too heavy. She had to speak her truth. When the interview went public, it exploded across social media. Some people were outraged, others felt betrayed, and many, surprisingly, felt seen, while some criticized her for airing private matters. Calling it unnecessary or damaging to her husband's reputation, others praised her bravery. They understood that what she did was not about revenge, it was about reclaiming her voice. As the conversation spread, more people started looking at the couple with fresh eyes. How could such a respected leader have such deep flaws in his personal life? But maybe that's what made this story so powerful. It wasn't just about the Mortons. It was about the pressure so many couples face, especially in the public eye, to keep up appearances even when they're suffering in silence. Dr. Morton explained that being married to a public figure meant living under unspoken rules. She was expected to smile, to remain supportive, to never let anyone see the cracks in their marriage. That pressure eventually erased her sense of self. She stopped asking for help. She stopped speaking her mind. And even when she thought about leaving, fear always pulled her back. Fear of judgment, fear of shame, fear of letting others down. But something shifted as she got older. She realized that if she didn't tell her story now, she might never get the chance. Her truth mattered. Her peace mattered. If your peace mattered, and that courage led to the moment the world never saw coming. Bishop Morton, for his part, didn't hide. He addressed the issue head-on during a church service. With humility in his voice, he admitted that he had failed her, that he wasn't the man he should have been in their marriage. His words were heavy with regret. Some were moved by his honesty. Others questioned the timing. Was it genuine? Or was he only responding because she finally went public? Lines were drawn. Some people stood with him, insisting that even spiritual leaders make mistakes. Others stood firmly by her, saying no one should suffer silently for the sake of appearances. But more importantly, her story sparked something deeper. It made people start asking questions about their own marriages, about the church. How often women are expected to endure pain quietly, just to protect a man's image. It turned out Dr. Morton had tried to speak up before. She confided in people close to them, hoping for guidance or support. But instead, she was told to keep quiet, to protect the ministry, to protect her husband. And so she did, for years. That silence became a prison. It weighed heavier than anyone could see. Her story isn't just her own, it reflects what so many women in religious spaces go through. Being told their pain isn't important if it threatens the public image of a powerful man. Her voice became a beacon. It gave others permission to speak up, to stop pretending, to start healing. Suddenly, the narrative shifted. This wasn't a scandal anymore. It was a movement. A reminder that truth, no matter how uncomfortable, has the power to set people free. Bishop Morton continued to show up. He didn't run from the fallout. He acknowledged his shortcomings and vowed to do better. He opened himself to conversations within the church. He even began attending counseling, something he had never done before. And in a powerful gesture, he gave Dr. Morton the platform to speak directly to the congregation, not as the bishop's wife, but as herself. A woman who had survived something deep and invisible for far too long. When she spoke, the room was silent. This time, people didn't just hear her. They saw her. But even with the public apology and all the steps toward healing, not everyone was ready to forgive. Some walked away from the church. Some stayed and leaned into the message of restoration. Not every wound heals quickly, and not every apology erases years of pain. But one thing was clear: things could never go back to the way they were. Yet, despite all of this, Dr. Morton said something that caught everyone off guard. She said she still loved him, that she didn't come forward to ruin him. She just wanted to stop hiding. She wanted peace. And that small but powerful truth shifted the entire story. It wasn't about bitterness. It wasn't about anger. It was about freedom. Their marriage didn't fall apart. It evolved. It stopped pretending. Slowly, it started to heal. Publicly, painfully, but truthfully. Bishop Morton stopped trying to be the perfect leader. He became a real one. And in doing so, gained something new: the ability to lead from a place of authenticity. This story doesn't end with a fairy tale. It ends with something far more valuable: a beginning built on truth. It's a reminder that love is not enough if respect and honesty aren't part of the foundation. That silence is not a virtue when it hides suffering, and that speaking up, even late in life, can still change everything. Dr. Morton's voice didn't just change her own story, gave others permission to tell theirs. And now we're left asking ourselves the same hard question. Are we living our truth, or are we just playing the part others expect us to? Because sometimes the most powerful testimony isn't about perfection, it's about survival. And finding your voice after years of silence might just be the bravest thing of all.